Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to queue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today, I got an email. Well, I responded to an email yesterday. It had come in a little while ago, but after I responded to it yesterday, and as I was responding to it, I thought, I should have included this in the episode on Tuesday that I just did about the veil. And then I started thinking, you know what? No, let's just do a whole nother show because this is a topic that deserves more attention. And the topic is dreaming and the dream time. And it's a topic that I think is really important to our soul's evolution. So the question came in from Stacia. Here it is. Ever since I was really young, I realized I had a lot of dreams about my day ahead of time. I would get deja vu constantly, and I remember at times I couldn't remember if something had actually happened, if I dreamed about it, or if both happened. Recently, it's been happening a lot. From me having a dream about the new dog our roommates got, I dreamt about the exact kind of dog, color, and age a day before they got him, to hearing the next song in my playlist play in my head right before it comes on. I dream about conversations I have with people the next day, and so on. I just recently tried to research this and saw something about precognition, and I learned a little bit about it, but the info I found is almost vague and seems like the same info over and over. Do you know more about this? I'd like to learn more about this ability and see how I can hone in on it. When things get too confusing and I get my dreams mixed up with waking life, I try to ground myself as much as possible, but sometimes it's hard to do it in the moment. Do you have any suggestions for that? I appreciate any feedback, and I'm excited that I have learned this about myself, but would love to experiment more with some guidance. Much love, Stacia. Thank you again for the question, Stacia. You have great questions, and I am so happy to address them. I love this topic of dreaming. I've been a prophetic dreamer, a precognitive dreamer my whole life. And so I totally get what you're talking about. And I'm sure a lot of you do that are listening. Because our reality is increasing in vibration and our veil is getting so much thinner, we're having these experiences where we are dreaming about what's about to happen. And then these deja vu moments about it actually happening. And then, oh, wow, is this a dream I didn't remember? Or did this actually happen type of thing? And I think what's happening here, the reason why this is happening is because this is a way that our higher self is trying to teach us to listen to it, to help us understand that this reality is so much grander and so much more connected than we really think that it is. We've been programmed to believe that it's not. The ancients, the indigenous cultures, all knew how important dreams were. Every single ancient culture and indigenous cultures to this day all have very strong dream practices. And so this is the way our higher self, it's one of the ways our higher self tries to communicate with us. And so when there's this bleed over into daily life, it's trying to show you how present it is and how much access you have to these other realms, to your higher self, to your guides, to your angels. And so when we can see this repetition, we start to understand, okay, I'm seeing beyond this realm. I'm getting messages that are true. So I can learn how to trust this guidance, even in waking life. Because it feels the same, doesn't it? It's the feeling of the dream that makes it so memorable. And it's also the feelings that we get when we have these intuitions in our daily life that are telling us to pay attention. And so this is just the way our higher self works with us, because it can't just give us the answers. As I say this, I look up and I see 444 on my counter. Of course, because our higher self knows that we need to make all of our own decisions and come to these things on our own, learn our own lessons. They have to respect our free will above all. And so all of our dreams are symbolic. They're confusing to us because we don't understand what they mean, because they have to speak to us in symbols and signs. They can't just flat out tell us. And even when they do tell us things, even then, it's like speaking in symbols and signs and parables. It's up to us to figure out what that meaning is for us. This is how we ascend. This is how we raise our vibration. They're helping us all the time, and we are choosing to not pay attention. Like, how many of us are truly doing the dream work and paying attention to our dreams? I used to do this a lot, and I'll tell you, I'm not doing it now. So I think this show is maybe my little kick in the pants to get back on this, because it's so, so important. The messages that we get in our dreams are the keys to our evolution. They're the keys to unblocking our energies and being able to move forward. And so, Stacia, these precognitive dreams can be just your higher self teaching you how to work with it. And other times, precognitive dreams can be a way to prepare us for the things that are coming in our lives, the things that might be challenging, or even maybe things that are opportunities for us. It's important, a lot of times, our soul understands what energetically we can handle and what we can't. And so often a precognitive dream will come when they need to prepare us and say, hey, this thing is going to happen, and it's good for you to know beforehand so you can kind of react to it in a more balanced way. And I know that in my life that has been true. Every time I've had a precognitive dream, when the thing actually happens, it's just way, way easier for me to deal with, whether it's a death of a loved one or something as simple as Brian losing our keys, because there's the sleeping dreams and then there's the waking dreams, which are really going to the same exact place. We're going to the dream time, whether we are awake or whether we are sleeping. It's just we're thinning that veil between the conscious and the unconscious mind, letting our higher self speak to us. Same place, same idea, right? So, Stacia, when you talked about when this happens to you, trying to ground yourself as much as possible and it being hard to do in the moment, well, I think that there's a reason why it's hard to do it in the moment, because I think that for me, and I don't know about you guys out there, but this would be the time that I don't want to be grounded. This would be the time that I want to go up into my higher chakras, and I want to actually be less grounded. Maybe I'll even pull up my root so I can be more energetically concentrated up in my third eye where the access to this information is. So next time, instead of grounding, and that's kind of like fighting against it, yeah? Next time, instead of that, let it be and go up into your higher centers and pay attention. Take a moment and see what this is trying to teach you. It's always about you, about what's going on in your life, about your soul evolvement, about your energy balance within all of your energy centers. So I hope that helps, Stacia. We're going to talk a little bit about what the Law of One says about dreaming, and I mentioned this a little bit on Tuesday, but there's more. There's always more. So this is just some paraphrased content from the Law of One. Dreams are communication through the veil of the unconscious and conscious mind. The nature of the dream is dependent on the condition or the current functioning of the chakras. The blockages, activations, or crystallizations of each chakra set the tone of the dream. For example, if a blockage is occurring at 2 or 3 of the lower energy centers, recurrent dreams will occur. You will see a repetition of recent life events and also deeply held mental and emotional blockages. This serves to give clues to the waking mind for the reason that the blockage is occurring and what changes in thought and perception can be made in order to unblock the energy. This is a very valuable thing in our ascension process, to be able to see where our blockages are and also know what we can do to unblock them so we can evolve, so we can ascend. The activity of dreaming is like making a beautifully designed fine wrought bridge from the conscious to the unconscious. In the dream state, distortions in energy centers that have been accumulated throughout the day are healed. With proper amounts of dreaming, healing can occur. In contrast, continued lack of dreaming can cause serious energetic problems for people. I'll tell you what, I can attest to that. Having a newborn baby in the last year and not getting a lot of sleep, it definitely affects your mental health and ultimately can affect your physical health too. So dreaming is not only important for our soul's involvement, but it's important for our mental and physical health. The portions of the dreaming process that are helpful in ascension and to the mystic are those portions that take place in time-space, or DreamTime. These portions use the bridge from metaphysical to physical for what seems to be a brief period of time. The equivalent in time-space is far greater. The bridge remains throughout the sleep state to transduce distortions so that healing may take place. Healing does not occur in the actual dream state, defined as rapid eye movement, but rather occurs in the physical state using the bridge to time-space in order for the process of healing to be enabled. So that's a really interesting point. And this is what the Aborigines talked about, where the creator dreamed the dream into reality. Because everything that is real was dreamed of or thought of in dreamtime or in time space. So as far as our healing goes, same thing. Healing happens in dreamtime, in time space, on the spirit realm, and then is manifested into reality here in the physical state. So that's really an interesting point. Healing can happen in so many different ways, but always it has to do with this connection to our higher self, to our inner being, this thinning of the veil between our conscious and unconscious mind. We get there with plant medicines, we get there with dreams, we get there with QHHT, hypnosis. There's breath work, meditation, so many ways, all doing the same thing. So if you want to start working with your dreams, set an intention as you're falling asleep that you will A, have dreams if you're not dreaming already. You can start there. And then B, that you will remember your dreams when you wake up. And you can say that to yourself or out loud a few times, but set that intention as you're falling asleep. Program yourself to do that. And then as soon as you wake up, before you do anything else, before you can barely even open your eyes, grab a pen and paper, grab your phone to make a voice note, and write it down or record it in some way. And you will start to notice a pattern. There's a pattern to the symbols and the signs. And write down what's going on in your life that day so you can look back and understand what your higher self is trying to tell you. What are your clues for your own soul's evolvement? So I want to read a little bit from Dolores Cannon's Convoluted Universe, Book 2. There's a chapter in here called The Dreamer Dreams the Dream. This is a really cool session that she had with a guy named Charles that I'm going to read you. She asked, "May I speak to Charles' subconscious?" He said, "You mean the dreaming part?" And she was confused. "The dreaming part? What part are you?" "Oversoul, I think you would say. It's yours as well. We are, yes." "But you separate from the person's conscious?" "Of course not. No. The part that I normally speak to that has the answers relating to the physical is usually the subconscious. You call that the dreaming part? What does that mean?" "Right now, you are dreaming. Right now, you are the dreamer. Right now, you are." But go back to us for the I, we, all, and then extrude like a plastic into a mold, to use an example you might know. And that's Dolores. But that isn't plastic. It's a fluid medium that seems to harden. But that's only in time. And then it flows back into its original, and then it extrudes into a mold again. And she goes on to explain, a different world with different rules that govern what occurs there. Our physical world on Earth is a place where rules and limitations strictly apply. That is why we chose to live here in a physical body in order to learn lessons within those limitations, because we have no memories of other lifetimes in other spiritual and physical realms. We have become used to thinking that everything has limitations. Thus, we cannot perceive worlds with no limitations. As we have seen in this book, there are many other dimensions and realities that we can experience when we have gained sufficient knowledge, where the beings are pure energy. They do not even have the limitation of a physical body. They can create anything they wish, from a body, casing to their surroundings. They have complete control over their environment. Even so, many of them have chosen, or been sent, to experience life in our limited and confining world. These people are often unhappy, longing to return to their life of complete freedom. It must be the same thing when we enter the dream world. While in the dream state, there are no rules, regulations, or limitations. Anything can happen or be created. We have control and can create what we wish to experience. People who have lucid dreams soon realize that they are dreaming, and they can change the dream if they wish to. They understand that they have control over this other world we enter every night when we sleep. I have been told many times that we will never be capable of understanding all of this while we are confined to a physical body. Apparently, the dream state is not a fantasy state that evaporates upon awakening. We have unknowingly created a world that remains and exists somewhere. This goes along with the idea that our thoughts are very powerful. They are actual things. Once thought, they exist forever. Of course, this is the way we create our reality, by guiding and organizing our thoughts, wishes, and dreams, and then focusing and directing them until they become reality. And this leads me to a clip I want to play for you all today. I found this clip by Robert Moss, and I just think he's fabulous. This clip is called "Unlock the Power of Your Dreams to Manifest the Life That You Most Want." Take a listen.
talk about manifestation. Let's talk specifically about dreaming the life that you would like to be living. Dreaming the partner, the home, the work, the community, the earth, the experience of the world that you would like to be manifesting. Let's talk about that. It might be easier than we make it for ourselves when we think we have to set up linear agendas. We let the ego get in the way. We make checklists. We make the schedules. We set out priorities. We do a lot of planning and worrying. It might be easier because to start off with, you're dreaming the life you will inhabit. You really are. Let me talk about the ways. First of all, in the night, whether you remember or not, whether you recognize or not what's going on, you are forever traveling ahead of yourself. Let me pause on that thought. In your dreams, you're a time traveler, and one of the places you go in dreaming is into the possible future. I think it's like this. I think consciousness, soul, mind, is forever traveling ahead of the body, preparing us for challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Once we wake up to what we're doing in our dreams, and harvest the messages and clarify the information, we can do better. We can avoid a life situation we don't want to get into, and we might be able to move towards the house, the community, the partner of our desires. I see this happen again and again. It might go beyond that. When we borrow ideas from quantum mechanics, when we borrow ideas from the cutting edge of physics today, we learn about the observer effect, right? We learn about how the active observation of noticing something and looking at it may pluck into manifestation an event out of quantum super probabilities. What does that mean for you and me? Well, it might mean this. If once again we can go into dreaming, whether we're talking about working with our spontaneous night dreams or becoming an active and lucid and conscious dreamer, we might find that when we fix our attention on a certain prospect and go through it and forward into it, we're laying a path for manifestation. And you know what? We're dreaming all the time. The world around us is giving us signs and symbols and synchronicity that will support our life journey towards the road towards the destination that our heart wants us to claim. So learning to be a dreamer, wide awake, to listen to the speaking land, as the Aborigines of my native Australia call it, is part of the way of easy manifestation, of getting into flow with what the universe wants to happen, not in a supine, passive way. This is the way of co-creation. What it also involves is practicing the art of imagination. Let's reclaim the word imagination. Let's stop the silly reflex of saying, oh, we're just making things up. Imagination has the power to create worlds. So part of what we offer in the Dreamers School of the Soul is a practice of imagination that will help you to grow a vision of your future possibilities so bright, so sensuous, so real, so vivid, so true that it wants to manifest in the world. You know, the indigenous navigators of the Pacific from Melanesia and from Polynesia talk about the wayfinder or the waymaker. That's the kind of navigator who can get you across thousands of miles of uncharted ocean without maps or compasses by holding a vision of the destination so vividly in the mind that the destination comes towards you, it comes closer. I think it's like that. When you grow a vision of possibility, you can taste it, touch it, smell it, feel it. You bring your destination closer. And also in that tradition, and in our modern lives, if we're willing to claim this, we pay attention to everything going on in the field. We pay attention to the wind. We pay attention to the birds. We pay attention to the speaking land and the speaking water. You know, one of the most profound things about manifestation that I have ever heard comes with poetic clarity from the great Bengali poet Rabindranath Tagore. He said this, listen to this, this is delicious, this is juicy, this is something you want to claim for your life. Tagore said, the stronger the imagination, the less imaginary the results. The stronger the imagination, the less imaginary the results. There's a profound secret of manifestation. And it doesn't require work in the tedious sense. It doesn't require the predator's eye on the prize. It doesn't mean bringing things within the crosshairs. It means allowing yourself and indulging yourself as you do so to grow visions of possibility that are rich and true and want to take root in the world. So one of the things you're going to learn in the Dreamers School of the Soul is that there are places in non-ordinary reality you can do this kind of thing, where you will have access to master teachers and creative spirits. And you'll be following in the tracks of creative minds, of creative travelers, of mystics and shamans and poets and inventors who've done these things before you. You'll discover that there are places like, let us say, a university in non-ordinary reality where any subject is open to you, information on air of any kind is open to you. You might, in a sense, be entering the Akashic Library or the quantum information field. But the way that we teach in our school of imagination, you're given doors and portals that make it easy to put yourself in a place where you can do many things. You can heal and rest and relax, because you might need to do that before you get to the really good stuff. You can scrub your mind free of the old habits, of old self-limiting mantras, the old boring, repetitive nostrums that people have handed down to you, the whole history of family dysfunction. You can be scrubbed clean of all that, and then you can enter a space of enchantment and magic and healing and manifestation, where once again you grow that vision so true and so real that it's almost irresistible. The world rises to meet you. The wind is at your back. The rain falls gently on the fields of your creative soul. This is what it's about. This is what dreaming the life that your heart wants you to find is all about.
Before we continue on with today's episode, for those of you interested in getting more fantastic fungi in your life, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about a friend of mine's brand new company, The Great Mother. Recently, I have been drinking The Great Mother's superfood mushroom coffee alternative called Ritual, as well as regularly taking their awesome Ally microdoses, and I am truly loving both. As you probably know, these days, many of the world's highest achievers and performers swear by microdosing. The problem is it can still be difficult to get a hold of magic mushrooms. That's why when my friend reached out, who lives in an area and country where legalization is not a problem like it was in the past, and said he'd be willing to offer microdoses to my listeners, I wanted to pass the word along. Ally microdoses are 100% organic. And in addition to a small amount of the magic active ingredient, they also contain functional mushrooms like lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, and other brain boosters like bacopa. Ally is essentially a full spectrum nootropic. And of course, the coffee alternative Ritual doesn't contain magic mushrooms, but it has an array of the best organic functional mushrooms in the world. And, with functional mushrooms, it's really important to get them from the highest integrity sources. And whereas some other highly popular mushroom coffee alternatives on the market only contain a few varieties of functional mushrooms in their actual ingredients, Ritual has 7. Not only does it contain more types, it also contains 3 to 4 times the amount that the big brands have in each serving. And it tastes amazing. I actually like to have it on its own, as well as mixing it into my coffee sometimes as well. However, since this is definitely a unique offering, there are a few steps. First, just reach out and request to follow the private page, thegreat.mother on Instagram. Once you've been accepted to follow, just message what you're interested in getting and someone will get back to you.
So we can dream the life that our heart wants us to find. When we enter into that magical space, we can manifest whatever we want. We can release old habits, thoughts that aren't serving us. We can heal, we can rest, we can relax. We can have access to our master teachers, guides. Everything is available to us in this space. And outside of this space as well, when we understand that it's all the same thing, as above, so below. Pay attention to everything that's going on around you. The air, the wind, the water. The universe is always talking to us, giving us signs and synchronicities, working with us, helping us to see our way, helping us to find our purpose and listen to our innermost being. And all we need to do is relax into it and listen and stop thinking we're making things up in our heads. Why? Claim the power of our imagination. Infinite possibilities are available there. We can do whatever we want. This is our time, y'all. It is time to step up and realize this magic is within us, all around us, is us, all the time. Dream time, real time, all the time. I am going to play you guys an amazing song that I found today. I fell in love with it. the minute I found it. And if you like to do ecstatic dance, you should add this to your playlist if you don't have it already. This song is called The Dreaming by Merkaba. Until next time, everyone, love you all.
This one I've seen before. Spirit from the DreamTime. Aborigines believe in two forms of time, two parallel streams of activity. One is the daily objective activity to which you and I are confined. The other is an infinite spiritual cycle called the DreamTime. More real than reality itself.